Hello there, I'm Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic.com and welcome to all the WTF moments from last night's installment of Monday Night Raw. But before we get going, I need to make an amendment for the horror show at Extreme Rules WTF moments video. Give me a second to do that just now. He's gonna puke. He went and bloody puked, didn't he? And yes, as you can see, my surroundings are slightly different today, and that is because I've had one too many noise complaints at home. So me personally, I am back in the Cultaholic offices, but crucially, I am the only person inside this upstairs office. Adam Pacitti comes in a couple of times a week to the downstairs office to record voiceovers. Everyone else is still working from home. Cultaholic.com are still adhering to the social distancing rules. Do not worry about that. But we're here to talk about some WTF moments. So hit the intro, man. WTF. And to everyone inside that performance center for last night's Monday Night Raw, you can stick your shame chants directed towards Seth Rollins. You can take those chants and stick them right up your arseholes. Just like I said on the Extreme Rules WTF moments video, Seth Rollins was challenged to a match. He accepted that challenge. He won that challenge by breaking no rules whatsoever. What do you want Seth Rollins to do? If he stood there on Monday Night Raw a few short weeks ago and said, "No, Rey Mysterio, that's a stupid idea, you silly little man," you would have called him a coward. If Ronald Mysterious won that match at the horror show at Extreme Rules on Sunday, we would have heralded Ronald Mysterious as a hero for taking down the Monday Night Messiah, while we also would have laughed at Seth Rollins for having one eye and presumably a lovely eye patch that would have fit in with the rest of his character. That's a missed opportunity. I think we all agree on that one, don't we? But I feel bad for Seth Rollins. He's done nothing wrong, has he? Rey Mysterio, Mr. Ronald Mysterious himself, he's the one who should be blamed. He brought all of this upon himself, so he did. But then we have Sethy Poo asking us fans if we regret making Seth Rollins the absolute prick he is today. And I was left asking Seth Rollins, do you regret turning yourself heel in WWE thanks to every single interview you were doing just about this time last year, outside of WWE, of course, outside of the kayfabe, where you put your bleeding foot in it? You curb stomp mountains and mountains of poo along the way, Seth Rollins, and naturally turned yourself heel by proving beyond any shadow of any doubt that you're a massive dickhead. Now at the top of this video and at the horror show at Extreme Rules WTF moments video, I might have talked about feeling sympathy and feeling sorry for Seth Rollins, and that has all gone after that line there. And that is a good thing, because in the professional wrestling, Seth Rollins is a bad man, just like Rikishi. I shouldn't be feeling sorry for him, should I? And then when Aleister Black came out, I was like, whoa there, Aleister Black, you slow down, you mysterious tattooed man. Seth Rollins wasn't the one to orchestrate all of this, which resulted, of course, in Ronald Mysterious losing his eye. Yes, he attacked an eye or two on the road to the horror show at Extreme Rules, but Seth Rollins didn't force Ronald Mysterious to make that match an eye for an eye match, did he? If I'm in the pub drinking a pint and somebody knocks my pint onto the floor, I don't then bounce back up and say, "Here, sir, I challenge you to a pint spilling duel," since that's what just happened to me, because that would make no sense, would it? I just get that man to buy me a brand new pint because that's the courteous thing to do. I say thank you very much, we have a lovely laugh, and we move on with our lives. What I'm trying to say here is Seth Rollins is not the one to be blamed for Ronald Mysterious having his eye detached from his head. Ronald Mysterious is. And I'm sorry to keep harping on about this, but the double standard shown on last night's Raw was absolutely Sickening. We have Tom Phillips getting all uppity and high and mighty and all Karen-like when he claimed it was astonishing that Seth Rollins would stoop to the levels he did by removing an eye from Ronald Mysterio's head. I can't believe he would go there, said Tom Phillips, while Seth Rollins was competing in a WWE sanctioned match that was challenged to him by Ronald Mysterio. It was all Ronald's idea, man. And the thing that makes all of this so much worse is the fact that Rey Mysterio himself, he stooped that low. I can't believe Rey Mysterio went there at the horror show at Extreme Rules when Rey Mysterio tried to get Seth Rollins' eye outside of Seth Rollins' head. Why did he do that, Tom Phillips and the rest of you uppity Karen people on Monday Night Raw? Because that was the rules of the match that Ronald Mysterio himself came up with. Nobody forced Ray to come up with this. They're both as bad as each other, man. And I was asking the question when I saw that there, what the hell is Ron Simmons doing just hanging around at the Performance Centre? Does he live there? And that got me to thinking, more to that point, Mr. Ross Twaddell, why on earth has Ron Simmons been randomly hanging around backstage at WWE shows for the past 15 to 20 years? But hey, I like Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons is nice. And now this is something I can get on board with. That is an impressive set of men, and it would appear, going off what we saw on last night's Raw, that is now an official stable. They're all part of the Hurt Business, and it's a lovely thing to see. WWE, use Shelton Benjamin more because there ain't no stopping him, no! Unless, of course, he is very confused. Do not make him confused again, WWE. What the hell did happen with that storyline, though, where Shelton Benjamin was always confused? Pie. So next up we hear MVP calling Cedric Alexander and Ricochet dumb and dumber. And in response to that, Cedric Alexander does indeed prove he is very, very dumb, because he claims that Dumb and Dumber was last funny in 2006, the last time MVP's career was relevant. First of all, Cedric, Dumb and Dumber, that came out in 1995. Second of all, MVP is on Monday Night Raw every single week, while you've only had 4 matches since just before the end of April. And third of all, you are Cedric Alexander calling somebody else irrelevant. How on earth am I supposed to get behind a babyface like Cedric Alexander when his words are more hollow than Alice in Chains? That's a reference some people might get. I'm just asking the question, man alive, WWE, why do you have a babyface who says some words that can be picked apart, pulled apart so easily? Something has to change when it comes to Cedric Alexander's character in particular. I mean, giving him a character, that might be a start. You're not a champ, MVP, said Ricochet. You're a chump. And I don't know what your response to that fire line from Ricochet was, but this was mine. I pushed my fingers into my ears. It was terrible. We've all heard the reports that Brucey P has taken over from Paul Heyman running Monday Night Raw, but I'm asking the question, why has Bruce Pritchard got his grandson, if he even has one? I don't even know if he has one. I'm asking the question still, why has Bruce Pritchard got a 5-year-old child writing the scripts for the baby faces on Monday Night Raw? Somebody spanked me, I thought he was dead. Mustafa Ali is back. Get in! Shame it's not as the hacker as so many people seem to believe it would be. They could still go back to that though. This babyface run now of Mustafa Ali's, it could all be a ruse as he eventually reveals himself to be the hacker. We can dream, can't we? Why did they scrap that? It was so good. But hey, it's nice to see Mustafa Ali back doing the wrestling all the same. But then we saw a lovely promo package highlighting the Big Show, the star of Netflix's hit show, The Big Show Show, detailing the Big Show's 2.5 decades of destruction inside the professional wrestling ring. But during this promo, it gave us a huge WTF moment as the Big Show himself could be heard saying, "My KO punch is the most devastating move in WWE history." And I'm going to do a Zach Glower from The Hangover once again, because when I heard that, I was left going... This is a huge WTF moment because I hate the KO punch, the WMD, whatever the hell that thing is called. How the hell can you have a 7-foot man who weighs the same as a skyscraper landing a closed fist punch and that closed fist punch not leaving a mark? Ever. In Ross Tweddle's professional wrestling, closed fist punches would be banned properly, never ever used, because when have you ever seen a closed fist punch not leave a mark? Oh, when I did it, because I'm soft as Christian! It seems you are at home. That's how the song goes. Lovely pair of horses, though. So then we hear that Christian was shocked. He was shook, as the kids might say. Shooketh to his core that Ric Flair and Randy Orton, the dirtiest player in the game and a no-good snack, remember, would dive to depths we've never seen before and lure Christian into a scenario and then turn on him and woof him right in the tallywhacker. I can't believe those two bad men would do something bad to me after promising not to do a bad thing to me. Christian essentially said, and I was left asking the question, has Christian ever watched professional wrestling when Randy Orton and Ric Flair have been on the telly? Because that segment there, that would suggest he hasn't, and I find that hard to believe. Ruby Riott won a match. And I know what you're going to say at home, Ross Tweddle, you big fat idiot. Ruby Riott won a match on last week's Raw, but I'm going to tell you now, Ruby Riott did not contribute to the winning part of that victory. That was all Bianca Belair. That there was Ruby Riott winning a singles match, and I could not be more proud. And that's because Ruby Riott, she's absolutely fantastic. Yes, she's been out injured for a long while, but she's criminally underused. The total package, the speaking, the wrestling, the different look. I love Ruby Riott, me. She is great. But the WTF moment here is the fact that that was Ruby Riott's first singles win on Monday Night Raw since February the 11th, 2019. That was like 75 years ago. Charlie Caruso does not watch Monday Night Raw, confirmed. She was there asking the Vega boys, lads, how quickly can you get back on the same page since you are facing the Raw Tag Team Champions up next? And that's even though we saw the Vega boys in action on last week's Raw, where we saw Andrade quite literally jumping in the way of bullets that were heading right towards Angel Garza's pretty head. They were even fist bumping and everything, man, Charlie. They've been on the same page for at least 1 week, man. Charlie Caruso, get up with the schedule, will you, pal? Unless, of course, Charlie Caruso, like so many of us last week, did indeed watch that match, but we just got lost in Angel Garza's ambience and beautifulness. It happens to us all. If you're saying it doesn't, you're a liar. He's beautiful. Now, since the Raw Tag Team titles became the Raw Tag Team titles back in 2016, the Street Profits are the longest reigning Raw Tag Team champions. That's a stat and that's a WTF moment. Don't you sit there at home and tell me I was the only person going, what? Hell no. Hold up before realising that stat is actually correct. It just feels weird, doesn't it? And just in case you're wondering, the closest team to that monumental reign of the Street Profits was the Viking Raiders, who held those titles for 98 days not too long ago. And then I almost had a heart attack as a wild lady balls appeared on Monday Night Raw. And not only that, but a wild lady balls appeared to make no sense whatsoever. And in making no sense whatsoever, a wild lady balls appeared on Monday Night Raw, made no sense, and then because of that looked very weak indeed. Has the end already come? The end is nigh, the end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh. Whoever wrote that script for Lady Balls is going to die. You can't make her look weak on WWE TV and then get away with it. We've learned that much over the past 4 or 5 or 27 years. But before I continue with the rest of this point, I obviously need to thank Stephanie McMahon herself for, first of all, creating women's wrestling and then creating all of the women's wrestlers inside of the women's wrestling ring. You've done a great job, Stephanie. But also Stephanie McMahon, the creator of women's professional wrestling, you were on last night's Raw saying that since Sasha Banks did not win at Extreme Rules and since Asuka did not win at Extreme Rules, we need to have a match to crown the rightful Raw Women's Champion. The way that Lady Balls was speaking about this upcoming match, it sounded like Asuka has been stripped of the Raw Women's title and the title title, as we're stood here on Tuesday, is vacant. And I'm sorry, we all saw the bollocks ending to that match. How that result was allowed to happen without any of the other referees inside of the building coming out and doing something about it, it's beyond a joke, isn't it? But in my book, if Asuka didn't in fact lose on Sunday, then Asuka surely still has to be the Raw Women's Champion, does she not? That match coming up soon should be Sasha Banks challenging for Asuka's Raw Women's title. Asuka didn't lose the title. Sasha tried to steal the title, but Stephanie McMahon, Mrs. Lady Battles herself, she called Sasha Banks out for that bollocks. Asuka's still the champion, is she not? And just in case you think I'm a rambling rabbit, that graphic there, that proves that Asuka, as we're stood here on Tuesday, is no longer Raw Women's Champion. Why is the title not on her there? It's so weird what's happened here. Pamela, why are you holding yourself up like that, man, when you know somebody's come down to kick you right in the face? Do an Apollo Crews, man. I think it was Apollo Crews to show that it's possible for a professional wrestler to be caught in that position, to drop their hands and fall out of the way of the person coming down to kick them in the face. That move does my titties in. And I'm making this a bit of a retrospective WTF moment after the news that came out today, suggesting that Kairi Sane is done on Monday Night Raw. That match against Bayley last night was her last match on Monday Night Raw for a very, well, maybe ever, according to the news. So how on earth did she win then? Because as we all know, the tradition in professional wrestling is that you lose your last match going out. It's just how it's done. It's a time-honored thing. That would suggest that Kairi is not done on Monday Night Raw, and also that The Undertaker hasn't retired. I think we all knew that already though, didn't we? Long-term viewers of this horror show of a video series will know my disdain towards the character of Dolph Ziggler. Yes, Dolph Ziggler the man is a fantastic professional wrestler, that much we know, that cannot be denied. But as we're stood here in the year 2020, I cannot wrap my head around just how many times the character of Dolph Ziggler has been killed off, knocked down, made to look like an utter fool, yet we're still supposed to treat this man as a serious threat. He's gone, he's dead in the water. Now before I continue, I should say on Sunday at the horror show at Extreme Rules, I'll concede that Drew McIntyre pulled a quick one on Dolph Ziggler. A quick Claymore kick, a protected finisher. Drew stole one kind of, I'll accept that. But on the surface of things, Dolph Ziggler, a character who has died so many deaths so far in WWE history, gets a WWE title match he did not earn nor deserve. He picks the stipulation for this title match. He literally cannot have a better chance of winning the WWE title ever, and he's went and lost again. And now this same man is getting another shot for the same WWE title against the same man who beat him in the match where that man did not pick the stipulation and therefore had the deck stacked up more high than it ever will be against him. And Drew McIntyre this time is picking the stipulation, and we're supposed to take Dolph Ziggler as a serious threat in this match. He's going to win the title, isn't he? This is the one. Oh my god. But on the surface of things, I'd like to say I'm really excited for this one. I can't wait for SummerSlam. It's really a 50-50 affair. Could go either way. Oh dear. And just in case you were wondering while we were all asking what stipulation could Drew McIntyre pick, it was Mr. Eric Bugenhagen himself who perked up and shouted eye for an eye and made everybody laugh. What a man. Why is he not on the main roster as a world champion? He's fantastic. And now it's time for this.
Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank. Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
Hello and welcome back to Wankety Wank, the section of these WTF Moments videos where you, a sexual wank fezon, tweet me with something I have missed from a wrestling show, and I give you all the credit, just in case it's wrong. And to be honest with you, I didn't go back and check this stat from Balti is Carl21, because why should I? Only the most trustworthy human beings on this planet watch these WTF Moments, but that stat there is unbelievable. But hey, I love the emotion in the promo. I love the history that was steeped into that promo. I thought it was a fantastic promo. But if you did shut your eyes during that Big Show promo and you heard the talk of the tigers and the hammers and the chisels, all things that were really spoken about, just in case you haven't seen it, it was a rambling mess in parts. But if you closed your eyes and listened to the words being said, you would have thought it was cult leader Bray Wyatt. It was that much of a rambling rabbit. Finally, they've let Ric Flair stay home. And why on earth are we promoting that there for next week's show when we quite literally saw Drew McIntyre stand there on last night's show and say to Dolph Ziggler, "Hey there, Dolph there, bonny lad." I'm not going to do the accent. I'm sorry, Scotland, I'm sorry. He stood there and said to Dolph, "Dolph, I'm going to do to you exactly what you did to me." I'll announce the stipulation for our SummerSlam WWE title match a second before the first bell rings. So what we're promoting that for then? Oh yes, I forgot we're WWE and we do this every single pissing week, don't we? We promote something you, the fan, are interested in. You then tune into Monday Night Raw to see this thing we promoted, and then we don't deliver it, and we make you sad. Why did they do that endlessly? I have no idea. And that's it for the WTF moments from this week's Monday Night Raw. I've been Ross Waddell from Cultaholic.com, coming to you from a socially distanced Cultaholic studio. We're all still doing the rules. Don't worry about that. I've just got one too many noise complaints, and I can shout all I want in here, and nobody can say anything about it. Lovely. See you next time.